Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ne0 Gets To Know. This time, I'm joined by a very esteemed guest. I'm joined by none other than Plopski himself, fresh off the back of an ISF win as well, out in Romania, where, of course, I was there too. Plopski, brother, thank you very much for joining me. I want to start right back at the start. What's the story? How did you get involved into esports? Where did kind of gaming begin for you as a kid, I'm assuming?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. And well, my story goes that it was my dad and my brother that started playing CS Source back in how long was that? Well, I was 6 years old at least. I can't really do the math, but it
Wow,
was a long
okay.
time ago. I'm
Yeah,
21 now, so 15 years ago.
yeah.
Uh, so when I was 6 years old, basically my dad and my brother they were playing CS Source. They started before that, but when I got six, I was like kind of interested in it, and I started watching my dad play it. And when time moved on, he allowed me to play it too at pretty young age when I was six.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, I didn't really understand much. I knew kind of the concept of yeah, well, shoot people. That's what I got
Yeah.
out of it. At least I was just running around shooting people. I don't know if it was enemies or teammates, but
Mhm.
yeah, and then as time moved on again, at 10 years old, I got my own PC, and well, I didn't really start playing CS anything like seriously or anything. I started playing a little bit Source with my friends, but it was mostly just like zombie mode and like Warcraft 3 and like stuff like that, just the mods, nothing to do with
Yeah.
the game of the concept. Um, and it wasn't until CS:GO came out in 2012 when I first started playing CS:GO. I started playing it at the beta,
Mm.
and then after some time, like I was just playing for fun, and then I think it was 2014 when I first started watching professional teams, and my favorite team at that time was NIP because they were a Swedish team, and
Yeah.
everyone
No
everyone
shock.
loved
Yeah.
them. So at that time I was like, well, this looks fun. I want to do this. I wanna become a pro gamer in this game.
Mm.
So that's when I started taking it more seriously, and well, it like yeah, I just started playing with more friends, and then I met more people through online. Started playing Face It, met a bunch of Swedish people, and then I joined my first team existence
Yeah.
2017. They basically scouted me. They were a Spanish organization, and
Mm.
they were all Spanish. And they scouted me through a game I played on HLTV with some other Swedish guys.
Okay.
It was a Jogiala qualifier. It's like a yogurt or something.
Sure.
But we played the qualifier with some Swedish guys, and we won some games. And they saw me there, and they saw that I have a Spanish last name.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh well, he looks good, young guy,
Mhm.
Spanish probably." And so they contacted me, and I was like, "Yeah, why not? Like, it would be very fun to
Mm.
start playing." So I started playing with them. I can't speak Spanish fluently,
I was gonna
but
ask. Yeah. Yeah.
I understand like a little bit of Spanish. So we did a mixture of English and Spanish. I
Sure.
spoke mostly English. They spoke some Spanish, and if it was like some intense stuff that I needed to know, they obviously spoke English. I would understand it 100%.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, we made it work kinda in like the Spanish scene. We didn't really play that much like internationally. We played mostly some Spanish LAN and
Okay.
like versus movie star riders. Some of the guys that are still there, Mopos and Alex, for example,
Sick.
they've been playing there for like 6 years or something.
Yeah.
So I used to play against them back in the days. And then I think it was in 2018 that we took like a well the Spanish team they kind of went like another route. Kind of we wanted to create something internationally.
Sure.
Uh, so we went for Existence Galaxy,
Mm.
which was the Swedish lineup we actually did in Existence. But actually, let me go back a little bit. Before we made that Swedish team
Mm.
in Existence, I was on a loan to Team Singularity,
Mm.
which was also some Swedish guys that I played with back then, like Face It and stuff.
Sure.
I was on loan with them, played a little bit with them, and then obviously I was just on loan. So it was yeah, they found a person later on, and then I moved back to Existence, and then we created a Swedish lineup with Knock, Barbar, Zinken and
Okay.
Boten.
Sure.
And we played for about a year. We qualified to DreamHack Winter.
Hmm.
I think it was 2018, maybe 17 late, I don't know, something like that.
Hmm.
We came, I think we came to the quarterfinals or semifinals. But you know, it was fun, good experience.
Yeah.
After that, we existence kind of went into like we disbanded kinda ish after some
Sure.
time, not directly after DreamHack, but some stuff happened. It didn't work out. We went our separate ways. Everyone except me, I was still on contract. They let everyone go except me and Knock. But Knock went to Gamer Legion at that point, I think.
Sure.
And I was sitting on the bench and well, not really doing anything. I was gaming Face It. I was still going to school. Then I was 17, and that's when Freddie B contacted me,
Hmm.
and also Draken, and they wanted to create something new, Swedish project. And
Sick.
so I talked with them for a bit, and then we created the team called Ancient,
Hmm.
which was me, Draken, Freddie B, Disco Dopplan,
Yes. Yeah.
and did I say Rusty? No, Rusty, I
No,
think,
and
yeah.
Russell's. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was us five, and then we had Barbara as coach. We played for about 2 months. We won like online cups. We qualified to DreamHack Summer, I think it was. We came to the grand final, lost versus Team Optic. And yeah, I mean, in 2 months we got to like number 23 or something in the world, so it was pretty good. But
Okay.
also at the same time as when we were playing DreamHack, that's when I got contacted from NIP.
Sure.
So in 2019,
Hmm.
so I knew I was gonna join NIP, but I still wanted to play, you know, the last tournament with the team. I didn't
Hmm.
tell them until after the tournament because I didn't want it to affect how they would play or anything.
Of course. Yeah.
So I just kept it. I told my coach, but I didn't tell the players. And yeah, well, after we lost the final, I told them what's gonna happen, and I think they understood. But obviously, people can also be a little bit mad if because it was going so well for us at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So, but it was all good in the end. Obviously, like I think anyone would have taken the chance if they got offered from NIP or any top
Yeah.
tier team at that
Of
point.
course.
So yeah, I joined NIP 2019, July, I think it was. And yeah, well, I played there for 3.5 years
Hmm.
ish, or three, yeah, a little bit more than 3 years, until I got benched September last year.
Hmm.
And now I joined, and then after 2 months, I joined Godsend. And yeah, well, now I'm here.
Here we are. Here we are. Let's go back to the start of NIP as well. Of course, that was kind of the big move for you when you kind of got that call up. Even though things were sort of going well for you, was it pretty daunting? I mean, of course, it's quite the step up, right? You're going from playing quite well, but more within kind of the online era, more tier twos, then stepping up into a tier one team, which is regular tier one lands. It becomes quite, more than your life, right? It's everything. You're traveling more often than your home, kind of thing. What was it like for you? And obviously, you're pretty young when you got the first call up, 3 and a bit years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I was 17 years old when I joined NIP, so I was young and you know, very like dedicated, willing to learn.
Mm.
Obviously, I dropped out of school too because I wanted to focus 100% on CS.
Sure.
So that was like kind of my commitment. It was either like say no to NIP and continue going to school,
Mm.
or say yes to NIP and drop out of school because I wouldn't really have time with school.
Yeah,
And since
sure.
I like just started high school, you know, I had two more years, 2.5 more years. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, it's kind of a long time, so I'm just gonna commit 100%.
Mm.
Dropped out of school, and I mean, obviously, like in the beginning when playing with Forrest, Get Right, and you know all those people, I learned a lot. They had a lot of impact on how I was shaped later on, and you know I'm forever grateful to have a chance to play with all the legends that I was looking up to when I was young.
Mm.
And they taught me a lot. I also had a little bit of things I could like teach them, you know, of even though I was playing like tier 2, 3 team, I still had some things that like they
Yeah,
didn't have, they didn't know. So you know, it was fun. I had a little bit of impact too.
sure.
But I mean, obviously, it was kind of like their show. They taught me a lot of stuff. I played my game. They took me in as a fragger, and I mean that's what I did. Like my job was to frag out. And
Sure.
the first 1.5 years in NIP, 2 years, uh, I think I played good. Like I feel like I was going upwards
Mm.
and just like becoming better and better. And it was just at some point, after Corona-ish that I hit kind of like a wall, and then from there it was kind of like it was going like straight and then slowly going a little bit down as I lost more and more confidence and trust in
Sure.
myself. And then yeah, in the end I got benched, which was understandable. I
Yeah.
can't blame anyone. I think it was great for both parties, me and them, that we parted ways. I could find another team where I could have find myself again, and they could find some players that would fit their system more than I did.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, going back to when you were talking about kind of when you started kind of on a bit of a downtrend, right? After kind of about 2 and a bit years, for you, was it just a complete mental thing, or was it kind of the additions of also Corona as well, which doesn't make just generally life pretty hard in and around then? What do you think was kind of for you, in your words, one of the reasons why things started going slightly downwards?
I'd say it was mostly a mental side of thing,
Mm,
as I was also pretty young. I was still
for sure.
like 19 at that point,
Mm,
and I didn't really know how to handle all of the like pressure, I guess you could
yeah, of
say, in the
course.
end that came to me. Like as much as I would have loved to, to ignore all the comments and stuff, at some point it started get to you, especially like
Absolutely.
when you know, like I knew I wasn't playing to the standard that I know I can play to. And I started like blaming myself for a lot of things, and then
Mm,
you saw comments and stuff, and you just like, maybe I'm not up for this, and the pressure started getting to you and all of that, and I didn't really know how to handle it.
mm.
It was definitely a mental thing, I'd say. Yeah.
And like on the other side as well, because obviously we have a lot of these young players coming through now who were in the same position as you. But I think when you were coming through, it was you were definitely one of the rarer occasions of young players going straight into a tier one team, a really kind of big deal. Now it seems to be a little bit more common in the sense. Well, like, kind of what advice would you give to them in the sense that about kind of the more mental side of thing? Because obviously you're in game, you can just work on that, you can work with the coaches, but the mental side of thing is something that's not really ever spoken about. So, what advice would you give to those guys when it's like a pure mental thing, if confidence is pretty low or anything along those lines?
Well, I mean, I'd say like don't be afraid to ask for help. Maybe you're like when you're young, you can be quite stubborn. You're like, yeah, well, I know I got this game. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm like. I know I'm not doing any mistakes or like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'd say don't be afraid to ask for help from your teammates, or if you have a mental coach.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can help you, and it's very good to hear another voice and another like point of view, kinda. And that's what I've learned, at least, that like I wish I would have asked for help earlier, or taken it more seriously, kinda,
Yeah,
instead of just trying to ignore it and then going downwards.
I feel that. I feel that. Going back to kind of yourself, you're talking about kind of joining into a Swedish organization. What did it mean to you being Swedish? I mean, I guess in a way, as a Swedish player, NIP kind of feels like the pinnacle, right? It feels like kind of in a sense as good as it gets, where especially at a young age. What was it like for you initially when you got that call up? Was it, I'm assuming, overwhelming kind of emotions?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a dream of mine. As I said, I started watching 2014 NIP, and I wanted to become a pro because of them.
Yeah,
So joining NIP, getting to play with the legends was, I mean, it was my dream, and that's what I was playing for, to be in that team. And yeah, I remember I was like sleeping. I had agent at that time too, so I was sleeping. The agent called me and was like, "Yeah, well, NIP offered you or like offered you to play with them." I was
yeah,
like, I didn't really know what to say. I just couldn't fall asleep afterwards after
yeah.
that. But I was really excited, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Told all my friends, and I mean obviously my family, and all
Yeah.
everyone was happy and say like I should go for it. I mean I was gonna go for it either way, but it
Of
was it
course.
was just fun to hear other people, what they would say.
And
But
what?
yeah,
Oh,
that was
sorry.
very fun.
Yeah, I can say there's another thing that is I think a big difference between a lot of the guys like yourself who when you're playing on Ancient. I remember casting you years ago playing on Ancient, and it is obviously primarily a lot of those online tournaments that you play from home compared to obviously NIP where it then becomes a big kind of LAN environment for the bulk part of the year. What's the step up like? Not only in terms of kind of the level of CS, but like the workload. I feel like when you again step into tier one teams, it becomes very much much more close to kind of to a 9 to 5 where you're working all day every day on a variety of different things. Where to online maybe not as much.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Ancient, or like all the other teams before I joined NIP, I was in school too, right? So
Of
I didn't really
course,
have
yeah.
that much time to play and prepare outside. Like I was basically I went to school, I came home, we had basically games like almost every day, and then I went to sleep, or it was just like go to school, come home, practice, go to sleep. That was like
Yeah.
how my day would go. I didn't really. I don't think I ever prepared anything like before I joined NIP. Like I was mostly just gaming my style, gaming my game,
Mm.
and obviously trusting the plays that we had in our team. And it wasn't until I got more time, and when I joined NIP Tier 1, you have to work harder, obviously, to be able to catch up with people and go beyond. So yeah, I started watching a lot of more demos and preparing for games, stuff like that. Playing more when I had more free time to play, so I just basically gamed all the time.
Okay.
And yeah, that's mostly the difference there.
And what about when you started to play on big stages? Were you ever kind of nervous? Was there ever anything like that where were you one of those players who it was just a normal day for you, or were you kind of probably what most people would be, where you see all the lights, you see the crowd, the fans, you do feel a little bit of the nerves? Where were you?
Well, the first tournament I played with NIP was Cologne, which also happens to be like the
Yeah,
biggest tournament in CS:GO,
yeah.
crowd-wise.
Mm-hmm.
We qualified for playoffs. I mean, up until playoffs, I was pretty chill. But when you came to playoffs and you
Just
play in front of
thousands.
18, 19,000 people,
Yeah.
play against Navi the first game, I was nervous. I can't lie. It was the first big game I had in my career, and yeah, I was nervous. I played all right, but I can't really say I expected much of me that because I knew it was gonna be a tough game.
Yeah.
Um, but it was definitely fun. It was very fun, and probably one of my memories I cherish the most. Starting like in my starter career.
Yeah, and of course, final question, I guess, before we move on to more recent things like Godson and whatnot. What was kind of the best thing you learned from NIP? Obviously, you were very young, and it's actually generally it's actually pretty early in your career. So, what was kind of the best things you learned in kind of your 3 years when you were at NIP?
Well, I'd say the best thing I've learned now, like now afterwards, is that I should have trusted my instincts more, or like
Mm-hmm.
trusted myself more. Obviously, it was a little bit hard because I didn't have the best mental.
Mm-hmm.
But like now, I'd say that I should have just trusted myself more and done a little bit of what I know I'm good at instead of playing kind of like in the end I felt like a robot. Like I didn't really play how I wanted to play. I just listened
Sure.
to everyone else and played around how they wanted me to play. And that's where I felt like I got most lost. Like I lost my identity. I didn't play my game. I just sat, listened, and like I didn't have any impact. And yeah, it was very tough. But I'd say to trust my instincts and trust myself more.
I
That's
like that.
what I learned the most.
I like that. Okay. And then obviously, you kind of briefly touched on this, but when you got the news, what was it kind of like for you? I've spoken to a few players when they've had the similar type of news and they kind of take that step away. Obviously, it's sad, but for some players, obviously quite relieved as well. You talk about kind of identity and things like that. It does allow you to step away, to kind of take a break, mentally reset. Kind of what was it like for you? Obviously, you would expect in some level of kind of being sad, but obviously understanding in the same way. But it feels like for you, it allowed you to step back, play your own game now again, which you've obviously been doing recently, and kind of again find your identity. What was it like for you?
I'd say I was 100% relieved,
Mm-hmm.
uh, actually, because I I've kind of felt like in the last months, like I felt like I was really not in a good place at all, and I
Sure.
felt like I wasn't fit into the play style of how NIP wanted to play, and like I just kept thinking that it would be much better if they found someone else that could replace me to fit their style more, because I played for a year straight. I just basically played positions I didn't like, and like everything, it wasn't anything for me.
Sure. Sure.
Of course, I tried to give it my all. That's why I stayed there for so long, even if it went bad for me. I tried to adapt and give it everything I had. But in the end, I'm quite relieved that I got benched.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to take a break and find myself again and get the chance to do that.
Yeah. And of course, now recently you mentioned signed with Godsend. What's that like? It feels like that Godsend team, it was when the announcement got made, it looks on paper like a really good lineup. It's a lot of these young guys who've come through the system within Sweden who've started to already make a name for themselves. And then you, even though you're only 21, you are actually one of the more experienced heads of the teams. But it seems like a really good team for the future. There's a lot of young talent who have been in and around kind of whether it's the academy leagues or the tier 2 scene. How are you feeling about Godsend in kind of the early parts of this year so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mentioned, but like every time, not every time, but I feel like a lot of time that people speak about me, like people are surprised by my age. I
Yeah.
remember sometimes, I think like when I was turned 18, 19, I wrote on Twitter like, oh, I turned 18 today, I turned 19 today, and a lot of people would write like, well, you're only like 18, 19. I think some people forget that I'm not that old.
Yeah.
21 is not that old.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just that I've been in the scene for a long time. You know, I was able to get an early chance, and yeah, I mean now that I'm playing, we got the hype, we got the Bob XT, ZTR, all young guys, and then we got Golden, a little bit older, but he's got a lot of
Sure.
experience, able to control us kids, so to say. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's been fun. We haven't really had that much time to play. We played some qualifiers before we went to Romania for the IESF.
Mm.
We lost both qualifiers in the round of 32, so it was like the game before HLTV.
Sure. Sure.
And you know the qualifiers are hard. Best of ones, you lose both pistols. It's quite rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we went to Romania, so we basically had a 2.5 week break from the team, where we did our thing in Romania and the others did their thing back home.
Mhm.
And now when we came back, we have had some games. We haven't been able to practice that much because we had to move like basically all our games that we were supposed to play when we were
Mhm.
in Romania with Godsent. We had to move them after, and
Okay. Sure.
because we don't have that much time span, so we have to like move. Like all the games are played basically this week. We have played like 2 games each day. Uh,
Long day.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just that because we haven't been able to practice for long, we haven't played with each other that much. It's been quite a rough start, I can
Mm.
say. I mean, we won today, but like the other games, we have lost 3 or 4 games.
Mm.
But even though we lose, I feel like we're still on our way up. Today felt great. I feel like for every game we get better and better,
Mm.
and we learn new things every day. And I'm really looking forward to the future with this team.
And what is it like, kind of with Golden as well? You obviously mentioned him, but it kind of felt, maybe half a year ago, that Golden was kind of done. I think that we hadn't really heard anything from him, and it kind of looked like he was moving. I know he did a bit of talent work. He was working kind of Pinnacle Cup in Lund, for example. It sort of looked like he was starting to move on from the playing side. Now he's back in the server. What's it like playing with him? Also, another guy who is sort of treated like a legend of the game.
Yeah, I mean, when I first joined Godsend, we obviously took him in as a coach
Mm.
because we wanted an experienced coach, and I feel like he was a really good fit for us. But he told me that he always wanted to play. He just didn't have the opportunity to get to uh, play in a team
Mm.
where he wanted to play. And when we overhauled our team or recreated it,
Mm.
he said he wanted to be a part of it. And I mean, we all accepted it, and we all trust him to
Yeah,
be able to, you know, come back and be kind of a leader. He's not the IGL for a team, it's ZTR, but
ZTR.
he
Yeah.
kind of be the second voice, and also he has a lot of experience how to handle pressure situations and stuff like that. So he's helping a lot on that side. And yeah, I mean, then it's up to the other, like us young guns, to just like go out and shoot people, and he's kind of like controlling us a little bit with ZTR. And I feel like we just need some more time, and now that we finally winning some stuff, we will get some more momentum, and things will start to flow on. I think we just needed a little bit of time.
Yeah, for sure. And how did the Godsend opportunity come about? I know you mentioned kind of you were benched kind of the tail end of 2022, like September-ish time. How much time did you have in between the two projects, or was it kind of once you got benched, Godsend were pretty quick to reach out?
Well, it was kind of like a month or month and a half after I got benched
Okay.
that I started talking with Heaton,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and he said he wanted to create something new for Swedish CS.
Okay.
And we started talking a little bit, and then he said, or then he got announced that he was gonna be the new Godsend CEO or
Mm.
CEO, something like that. And that he was gonna create a new team, and he talked to me, and he's like, I know what you can go for, and he trusts me, and he wanted me to be a part of that project.
Sick.
And well, then we just started speaking, and like I know that I wanted to be in a Swedish team because that's where I feel most comfortable with. Like obviously, I feel like I have good English and I
Mm,
could play in an international team if I wanted to. But my first priority would be a Swedish team if it came about and it was something I liked. And Godsend was something I liked and it was a Swedish team and I felt like this is a great opportunity for me to find myself again and
for sure.
find my identity kind of. And well, with the first time that we played, we got some good wins. I feel like I didn't play that good in the end because I was still trying to find myself. Like I got kind of the positions I wanted to get, but it
Mm,
still takes some time because I've played 2 years in NMP with different roles. And then now when I came to Gazant, I got new roles again, but it's roles I wanted, but it just takes some time to adapt kinda. And I felt like I played okay, some games good, some games bad, and well I just need more time. And I feel like I'm actually kind of on my way up now again. Like I feel like I find myself a little bit, and after the ISF win too, where I feel
mm.
like I played good. Like I liked we won our games, we played good as a team, and I felt like I played good individually too, and that
Sick.
was a huge confidence boost for me. And ever since then, I've kind of just rolled with it.
You'd love to say it. What's kind of the realistic goal for maybe kind of the next 6 to 12 months for the roster? I mean, obviously with CS2 looming, everything's kind of up in the air anyway. But what's kind of the goal for you guys? Is it obviously, we got the RMR into February, March time next year. That's obviously a big goal for all the teams coming through. But where are you guys looking? What's kind of like where your hopes names are? Give that kind of realistic, let's say.
Yeah, I mean the main reason why we kind of overhauled our team to make it younger
Mm,
was because we wanted to prepare for CS2. We
for sure.
want a team for the future. So we got some young guns, Hype and Bob,
Mhm,
and well, we're mostly focused on CS2. I mean, we got some CS Go tournaments now, or like qualifiers and stuff.
mhm.
We played them, but we will go like all in when CS2 comes out, and that's where our main focus will be. And right now, we're just playing to get our chemistry up and find the vibe together, kind of ish.
For
And
sure.
then when CS2 comes out, we all just like dialed in.
Full in.
Um, so yeah, that's the plan, kind of.
Fair enough. And of course, you already slightly mentioned it recently. We were both kind of over in Romania for ISF. You walked away with the win too. How was the event as a whole for you? I mean, obviously as a team, it looked pretty clean. Didn't drop a map the whole way through, so not bad as Team Sweden. But how was the whole event for you?
Um, well, I mean, starting off the group stage was kind of a mess. I mean,
Mm,
outside that we won all our games, it was kind of a mess in the sense that it was so much delays and there
yeah,
was like it was so hot, there was so much delays, there was no air condition. Like we had only 4 tables for 5 people. I had to sit basically in between 2 tables, so my mouse pad was like in a crack, so like
oh
I couldn't
brilliant.
move my mouse all the way, like it just got stuck.
Yeah,
Uh, so it wasn't like the group stage. I mean, if we won all the games, I can't complain. Everyone had the same issue, obviously, but yeah, it wasn't the best. Um, but as playoffs came around, we like I feel like we us Swedes are kind of more what's it called? We are more ice cold, maybe you can
yeah,
say. Like we
yeah,
don't get the nerves doesn't hit us as hard as I
mm,
feel maybe it hit the other teams. Like I feel like we were just like we belonged on the scene kind of,
yeah, for
and
sure.
we played our game. We only thought about ourselves, and like we didn't drop a map. And I feel like we played good CS considering we didn't practice anything with that team.
Okay,
It was just we gathered 2 days before the tournament, played some Face It together to just get the vibes going. We all know each other like before we
yeah,
started the tournament. Like we played Face It and stuff before. We went through a little bit of stuff, like just some tactics, but we didn't practice anything like against other teams or something. We just went through some stuff to that we can keep in mind.
yeah.
And then we just played, and then we played. Yeah, we just vibed a lot outside of the games, and built our chemistry. And I felt like we had the chemistry from day one, and I think that helped us to get the win in the end.
And how did the kind of team selection come about for Sweden? I know kind of every different I guess regional country has their own kind of different way of doing it. But how did they come about for you guys? Because you're from a variety of different teams of whether it's Godsend or kind of Met support now as well with kind of Jaquinho and Abdi and whatnot. How did it all come about for you guys?
Well, for me, like I didn't have like anything to do with the team. Kind of, it was ZTR mostly, I think, and
Okay.
Jägern, if you know who that
No.
guy is. He's a Swedish. He's a old Swedish guy that used to play 1.6 with some
Okay.
other legends.
Sure. Sure.
And he works in like the esports something something in Sweden.
Sure.
So it was kind of them two, and ZTR asked me if I wanted to play, and I was like, yeah, why not? And originally when we played the qualifier for ISF, we played with the SUSP
Oh
and
yes. Yeah.
Isaac from Gamer Legion, and we also played with Brolin,
Hmm.
and then me and ZTR. And one more. Oh yeah, Kinyo, yeah.
Yeah.
So we had like different lineups because people couldn't play that much. And then when it came to the main tournament, Susp couldn't play because he played with Zero Nation.
Mm.
Brolan obviously can't play because he plays with NiP.
Yeah.
And then we asked Bob XT and Susp twin brother Adam B.
Hmm.
Uh, so they wanted to join, and I feel like it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we just had a good vibes, all around.
I mean, it looked pretty kind of comfortable for you. I want to ask as well about. So this is something that we had kind of with the casting side of things when it's outdoors. What is it like playing in an outdoor event? Working it for us, it was pretty fun, obviously, because we got to kind of commentate kind of with the crowd. But what's it like for you guys playing an outdoor event? They're obviously very rare. So what was it like kind of with the whole palace and whatnot?
I mean, the first time they told me it was going to be outside, I was very scared that it was going to be without booths and that we would just sit in the 38 degrees heat dying
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
was be too hot. But then when they said it would be booths with air condition, I got happy. And, for me, it's a very cool experience because I never played a tournament outside.
yeah.
So it was definitely a nice experience. For me now, I'd say like afterwards, it doesn't really matter if a tournament would be outside or inside as long as there's booths. If it was without booths, then I would not have liked it at all
Yeah, it
in
was
that
hot. It
heat.
was
Yeah.
38, 39 degrees on some of the days.
But it was very fun, like a drop-in event kind of. Everyone could just come and go and watch. Like it was very fun to see that there was that many people that was watching the
Yeah,
event. It was much bigger than I thought it would be, and I'm really happy to have been there.
yeah, for sure. I want to kind of finish by talking a little about the Swedish scene as a whole, right? So obviously, in the early stages of CS:GO, the most dominant scene by a long shot, and for a long, long time, it kind of still remained that. But it feels like at the moment it's in a bit of limbo where, NIP is is Swedish, but it's no longer fully Swedish with the likes of kind of Hedrick coming in and whatnot. It feels like the scene as a whole is going through changes. What's your thoughts? Obviously, being an active part of the Swedish scene of where you kind of feel it is right now.
I mean, I'd say right now, okay. First of all, I'd say after NIP,
Mhm.
there wasn't really that many Swedish teams. It was, NIP and Eyeballers, I think.
Yes, yeah,
And then it was like 0-0 prospects, and some other maybe academy teams, but
sure.
it wasn't looking that good. But I'd say for right now that we know we got Godsend, we have NIP-ish,
Mhm.
we have Eyeballers, we also have the new Mertis Esport Metis, the guys that just announced with Jaquinho and guys.
Yes.
And
Okay. Yeah.
so I feel like we're getting more and more Swedish teams. We also have like Team Knasit that qualified for
Oh, is that
from
how you
the close
pronounce it?
qualifier, Knasit.
Okay. Yeah. They look pretty
And
good.
they looked solid, So I think that like I feel like we have great Swedish players. We just haven't been able to find the puzzle in how to create the best Swedish team kind of yet.
Sure.
And well, I feel like now that we have more and more Swedish players coming up and more Swedish teams coming up, I feel like the Swedish scene is on the way back to being one of the greater scenes.
Okay. That's good to hear. Is there anything that you would change to help the scene get better? I know I've spoken to people in other scenes like the Polish scene, for example, and a lot of us start talking about kind of like egos or arguments or whatever. Is there anything that you would change in the Swedish scene that you'd hope to kind of make it better?
Well, I mean, I've I I don't really know. It's like it's kind of hard for me to say because I haven't played in with that many different Swedish people.
Sure. Sure.
But I've heard from like other people that a lot of Swedes have a big ego, and
Okay.
maybe like I'm not 100% sure. I've just heard it. So like if that was the case, if that would be the case, then I'd say like for people to just play more for the team and like yeah, it's great and all to show up what you're capable of doing, but playing for the team and winning, even though it might go bad for you, but you end up winning, stuff like that. I think it's more important, and I feel like we just need people that kind of sacrifices themselves a little bit, and
Sure.
for the greater good of the team.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's what I would say if that's true.
Okay, fair enough. We'll move a little bit away from CS:GO for now. Move on to kind of just like general life questions as a whole. So, first of all, one thing that you kind of already mentioned was you got the Spanish surname. Talk me through that. Where so I'm assuming are you half Spanish or some sort? Have you got a Spanish family but live in Sweden? What's the story there?
Well, it's my dad's last name. He is from Spain,
Okay.
the Canary Islands,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
so I have his two last names, Gonzalez Zamora.
Mm-hmm.
And well, my mom is from Greece, so I have
Okay.
a kind of a mix of two hot countries, Spain and Greece. But I was born in Sweden,
Okay.
and so was my mom, but my dad was born in
Mm-hmm.
Spain. So I'm a little bit like I don't know all those three mixes together.
Okay. Fair.
But mostly Spanish stuff. Like I don't know any Greece at all. I can't speak
Okay.
any Greek. I mean,
Sure. Sure.
I just know a little bit of Spanish and stuff like that.
Fair enough. And do you have like I'm assuming like family or already side in Spain
Yeah.
and in Greece? Okay. So do you go regularly?
I used to go. We used to go a lot to Spain, especially, and we went to Greece sometimes, but not recently that I've been
Be busy.
busy traveling. Like
Yeah.
especially when I was NAPA, like we didn't have basically any free time at all. Like we traveled so much, and then when you had free time, you were like so tired of traveling, so you just wanted to be
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. What was life like kind of growing up for you in Sweden? What was kind of things that you like doing as a kid kind of growing up in Sweden?
Um, I mean, for me, it was mostly just gaming. Like that's what I did. I don't really remember anything before I started gaming, kinda.
Mhm.
I remember at some point I played basketball.
Okay.
When I went to like when I was very young, I went to some basketball classes
Sick.
because I was a little bit tall when I was young.
Hmm.
But then it wasn't really something for me. And I also remember I wanted to start playing football, but I never did. And then I just focused on gaming basically.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, outside of esports nowadays, is there anything that you like doing kind of hobby wise? Whether it's, I know, obviously you mentioned kind of sports. Some people are kind of really into like movies or TV shows, or anything for you that you kind of do when you want a bit of a break from esports, you want to wind down a bit?
I mean, outside of like hanging with my friends, my girlfriend or family, I like as soon as I have free time, I try to be with my girlfriend, my friends or family.
Sure.
And if I'm not doing that, then I also like to work out, to just get the exercise going. And I feel like it helps me a lot individually to be more focused and perform better.
Hmm.
So that's basically what like the three things I do. I game, I hang out with friends, family, girlfriend, or I go to the gym.
Yeah, fair enough.
I also
Okay.
like cooking actually at home.
Okay.
I
Bit of a
do quite
chef.
a yeah I do quite a bit of cooking, even though I'm not the greatest. I just enjoy it. I like food and I think it's fun.
What's the go-to dish? What's like your marquee, your best one you can
Mm.
make, or your real special one? Like if it's date night with the missus, what do you go for?
Uh, it's quite different because my girlfriend is vegetarian, right? So
That
I'm not
does.
the greatest doing that kind of stuff. But I
Sure.
mean, uh, I don't know. I do quite a bit. I don't remember what it's called, but there's like some the like Asian dish. I like Asian food a lot.
Okay.
So I
Nice.
enjoy like trying out different type of Asian food. And
Nice. Like a good stir fry, that kind of thing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
stuff like that. I'm not the greatest, but it's fun and it tastes good in my opinion when I do it too. Maybe
Yeah.
not to others, but I like it.
Hey, that's the main thing. As long as you like it, then you know you're
Yeah,
sorted
exactly.
anyway. So another thing is, what's kind of a daily routine look like for you? I think a lot of players have completely different routines of where they come into things. So what's it look like for you? Let's say you have an official at 6 p.m. What would like a daily routine look like for you?
Yeah, okay. I mean, we can just take today as an example. I had game at 3:30.
Hmm.
So today I woke up around, I don't remember when I woke up, 10 something. So I woke up at like 10. I ate breakfast, and then after breakfast I went to the gym, did a quick workout session, came home, showered, made some food, and then we basically went into. I did a little bit of preparing on the team we were playing against, and then we have our standard meeting like 1.5 hour before the game to just talk how we want to play and prepare
Sure.
for the game together. We talk for like, about, it depends, maybe 45 minutes, 1 hour. Then we have like 20, 30 minutes to warm up before the game,
Mhm.
and yeah, warm up and then we game.
Okay, and what does warm up look like for you? I know everyone has different things. Some people like to thousand plus kills in DM. What's your sort of warm up?
I kind of do like a warm up to my warm up. So what I
Okay.
mean by saying that is that I usually go on aim bots. I shoot
Mhm.
some standing still bots for like 10 minutes maybe, just to get my wrist going, and then I hop onto a real deathmatch and just play normal deathmatch. And I
Sure.
mean, I just play until I get tired of it.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
Fair enough. And this is always kind of a hard one. If you weren't involved in esports, if you weren't a professional player, what do you think you'd be doing?
I definitely wanna, like, if I wasn't a professional player, I definitely would have wanted to be a streamer, I think.
Okay.
I
Sure.
enjoy talking to people, I enjoy meeting new people, and I enjoy making other people happy. And
Nice.
the few times I've streamed, I've very much enjoyed it. It's just a little bit, it's been a little bit draining. Uh,
Yeah.
I haven't streamed that much now. I streamed a lot when I was benched because I
Mhm.
had a lot of free time and it was very fun. But when like now when like you practice for a long time and like after practice you're kind of like dead. You don't have that
Yeah.
much energy, so I haven't streamed that much. But I definitely enjoy it, and that's something I would further explore if I wasn't in my position.
Yeah, fair enough. And the last one, I feel like, judging by kind of your story and how early you got into esports, it may be probably pretty much easier for you. But was it a hard conversation to have with your parents, saying, "Okay, I'm gonna drop out of school. I'm gonna go full time." Was that a hard one? I know, for me personally, saying, after university, I used to work in finance, and I was going to say, I'm not going back into finance. I'm not going to commentate full time. It was like a bit of a hard one to kind of convince them, saying, I can make money doing this. Was it like that for you, or was it pretty easy?
I mean, it was kind of easy, but it was also not that easy. It was easy in the sense that my dad has always been like very supportive of CS because he played CS,
Sure.
obviously. So like he knew a lot, and he knew what it was to be a pro and stuff.
Mm.
My mom, on the other hand, she was very supportive, but she did like know anything about it. So
Yeah.
she was like, when I told her I'm gonna drop out, she was like, "Are you sure? Like, can you even live on this? So
Yeah.
like, is this a real thing? Kind of."
Mhm.
Uh, but then I talked to her. Me and my dad, we told her, and she was like, she was okay with it, but she was also sad because she thought it was basically like game over real life.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but now like when she like they watch every game I play,
That's
and
really nice.
like let's say, how long was it now? 4 years ago, let's just say 4 years ago, before I joined NIP,
Hmm.
my mom had no clue, but now like my mom can write to me messages like, "Oh, did you see those HLTV news?" And like
She's
she
on
has
it.
yeah she
Yeah.
has so much like she knows everything about CS now, and it's
That's
very
sick.
fun to see. And they're both very supportive. So is my brother and all my friends. They're all very supportive, and I'm super grateful that I had the chance of having supportive parents and friends and stuff, because I know some other people might not have that,
Mhm.
where their parents support them
Yeah.
and be able to do what they want to do for a living. And I'm very grateful that I had that chance.
That's really really good to hear. So we'll finish up with a few kind of questions from Twitter, Reddit, and whatnot. So first one, this was a really good one from Twitter. And someone was asking, what advice would you give your younger self when you were joining NIP? Now that you've kind of been there, done that, you have 3 years of the team, and you've kind of had a lot of experience of other teams like Godsend and whatnot. What advice would you give kind of 17-year-old you going in towards NIP?
Well, I definitely give out the tip that I said before, that
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to ask for help,
Sure.
from your teammates, from your coach. Mental help could be outside of CS2.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like if things starts going badly, you it's probably best to ask for help rather than just take it in by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
as I did, and things spiral out of control. But yeah, I'd definitely give myself that advice to don't be afraid to ask for help and like trust yourself.
Yeah. For sure. And another one was saying, in what ways would you say you've evolved as a player? Let's say kind of from before NIP to now, right? So it's probably like 3.5 to 4 years. How have you evolved as a player?
Well, I'd say that I've evolved a lot in like how to handle more pressured situations.
Hmm.
I would definitely not say that I'm like 100% confident in it, confident in my like being in a pressured situations yet.
Hmm.
But like from where I started and from where I am now, I'd say that I'm much more comfortable in it. Still not 100%, but I learned how to handle pressure a lot more. Uh, Also how to be a bit of a leader, not like leading a team, but being able to come up with ideas and
Hmm.
teach other people stuff that I also see. And
For sure.
in the beginning when I played, I remember like one of my first coaches said that like you can't use nades. Like I was shit at using nades, and he was like, one day when you learn how to use nades, you're gonna be a very good player. And
There you
well,
go.
I'd say it worked out in the end. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that's what I would say I evolved in the most.
Okay, fair enough. Another one was also someone was asking, who in your opinion would you say is kind of the best teammate you've ever had, past or present, that is obviously not only being a good player, but then also being very helpful to you in terms of your career, giving good advice, helped you, mature, whatever as a player. Who would you say overall kind of been the best teammate you've had?
I think I would like I'd give a shout out to Nok, because he was like one of my first teammates that I became really great friends with, like outside of CS, and also a guy named Hugo XD. Those two were basically like my biggest friends, like outside of CS, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
Nok more because I play with him more in the end, like in a team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'd definitely say like my biggest or like the best teammates I've ever had is Ezetag. Uh,
Okay. Sure.
he was the closest to me to being like a real actual like family friend kinda,
Yeah.
because like he's one of the best teammates for sure. Like he sacrifices himself a lot. He takes yeah, I don't know. He's just a really good teammate, and he also like helped me a lot. Like there was some private stuff that happened in my life, and he was one of the few guys that like asked me how are you doing? Are you okay? Do you want to talk? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, not all people knew about it, but I told my teammates at that point, so that's
Mm.
why maybe they asked a little bit more. But he was there for me, and he invited me, and we had fun outside of CS2. So yeah, I'd give it to him for sure.
Fair enough. Do you think Tag deserves kind of another shot? I think, in my opinion, I always see Tag as a bit of a do it all. He can kind of play any role, any position. Do you think he's someone who can get another shot or will get another shot?
I hope so. I think he deserves another shot. I don't think he truly got the best chance at NIP. Like from him, like he joined NIP not knowing any Swedish at all, and like
Mm.
2 or 3 months later, he was basically fluent in Swedish.
Wow.
He learned a lot of Swedish, and he tried to give it his all. And I feel like he deserves another opportunity because I feel like he's a very good player and basically a jack of all trades. Like he can do anything.
Yeah, exactly that. Another person asked, is there any up and coming young players that you think are going to be like really special? Obviously, you play with a lot of some of the more younger kind of future prospects, so to say. Is there any kind of young players that either you've played with or just generally guys that you've seen that you think are going to be, tier one, top level in the future?
Um, Yeah, I mean, I could like jump on the hype train and say, the male 09 guy,
Oh
but
yeah.
everyone already knows he's really good and like he's gonna become a really great player.
Hmm.
I mean, I'd say him as well, but I also want to say probably like Bob XT. I feel like he's young,
He's
he's only
sick.
19, and I feel like he shoots very hard, and by that I mean that he has very sharp shooting kind of, and yeah, I think he's gonna be a really great player when he kind of gets more experience and plays a little bit more.
I'm not sure if it's his role in Godsend, but I know at ISF, me and Anders talked about this a lot. He was one of the best lurkers we've seen in a long, long time. I mean, incredible the amount of times, the amount of rounds he would win single handedly just lurking.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's what he does in Godsend, but he looks very talented.
yeah, no, he has the same role, so
Yeah,
he will show us all one day.
we love to see it. We love to see it. Someone else asked, What is the reasoning behind the name Plopski? Where does it come from? What's the story?
I mean, it's funny, like a lot of people ask this, and I get disappointed every time I answer because I don't remember where I got it from. Like
Don't.
I was a kid, and I think I just wrote something on my keyboard, and then there it was. Like there wasn't any special meaning behind it.
Okay.
People think I named Plopski because there's like a Swedish candy called Plop in Sweden, and
Right.
sometimes I just say yes because I don't have an explanation for it. But in like truly honestly, I don't know.
Fair enough. So you were like really young then when you must have made that.
Yeah, I was really young.
Hey, you're stuck with it though, so I gotta respect it. I mean, actually, funnily enough, you mentioned kind of the sweet. Another thing is just generally favorite food or snack. If you had to kind of pick one like thing to snack on or one food to always eat, what would you go to?
Mm. I mean, I like chocolate. Chocolate as a snack, like
Can't go wrong.
Twix maybe. Twix is goated in my opinion.
Drinks pretty good. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Uh, Food wise, I mean, I like all Asian type of food.
I'm with
Thai
you.
Asian. That's my
Yeah,
go-tos basically.
I'm with you. I'm with you. This is one from Reddit, and someone said, "Do you sometimes wish that you were a bit older when you first joined NIP, or kind of so you were a little bit more kind of mature or mentally ready for being kind of in such a well-known organization with all the pressure, or do you think you were kind of fine when you went in?"
I definitely think that it was good that I joined NIP at the age I joined them in, because otherwise I don't think I would have learned all the stuff that I've learned to this day. My weaknesses, the
Sure.
stuff I was good at, and the stuff I needed help with to become a better player.
Hmm.
And going through the stuff the hard way, kind of, I would say. I feel like I've learned a lot, and now I've starting to come on top of all my weaknesses and stuff that I had in NIP. And I'm really grateful that I got the an early chance and to be able to mold myself into a better player within the years.
For sure. And so the last two questions is this the bit of a double whammy. So the first one is just kind of what's your thoughts on Valorant and have you ever played it?
Yes, I played Valorant. I played a little. I wouldn't say much, but I played like
Enough.
medium
Yeah.
enough, right?
Yeah.
But it's only because my girlfriend plays Valorant. She started off
Okay.
playing CS,
She jumped
because
ship.
we were
Traitor.
playing together, yeah. But then she, like, I didn't have that much time to play with her, and then she just started playing Valorant. It's
Hmm.
I think it's more welcoming to newer players when they start first get on PC, and yeah, she started playing with her friend, and so I joined them sometimes,
Hmm.
and that's the only reason I play it. And my thoughts about it is like it's an okay game. I think there's a lot of times I don't like it because I basically get screwed over by abilities, but
Yeah.
it's I can imagine it's fun when you're good at that game and you can use your abilities, right?
So I'm safe to say you're never gonna make the switch or anything. You've never been tempted.
I mean, I guess it depends on how CS2 turns out, but
True.
nah, I mean, I'm looking forward to CS2. I think it's gonna be great, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's the final kind of question. The final kind of subject is what's your thoughts on CS2? I mean, obviously you've probably had a decent amount of time to play through it now, kind of work out all the bugs and have a little look around about all the visual stuff. What's your thoughts? What's your overall kind of view about how the game is, and what would you like to see kind of change? 'Cause obviously there's probably still quite a bit.
Like, if I gave a very short answer on everything right there, I'd say it's shit right now.
Yeah.
And I don't. I mean, I like the concept. I liked everything that they're thinking about doing. I
Hmm.
just don't think they have managed to do it right at this moment. I feel like the servers feel laggy. There's a lot of delays, and Peaker's advantage is like
Brutal.
absurdly right now.
Yeah.
Uh, I like the smoke changes. I'm not quite sure about the HE grenade in the smoke yet. I haven't really
Hmm.
played that much because like I think CS2 right now is not a good state, so I haven't enjoyed it and I'm
Sure.
not playing it. I'm kind of waiting until they've finished the game. But like if they can fix Peaker's advantage, the servers and the delays to make it just feel like CS:GO but with more upgraded stuff,
Yeah.
then it would be very good. I like the changes to matchmaking. I like the idea of just being able to, go onto CS, press play, and game, kind of
Hmm.
how it is in Valorant, instead of going to third-party platforms, Face it, CS, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's more simple, it's more attractive. Leaderboards is more attractive for people to grind out and become better at the game. So I like all of the ideas. I just think they need to sharpen it, or however you say it, like enhance it or make it better.
Okay, sure. And when do you think we're going to start to see CS2 in pro play? This has been the question that everybody's been talking about who works in the scene. I mean, I know at Cologne, I had people telling me, oh, yeah, Pro League is going to be when we see CS2. And then, obviously now that we've had Pro League, it's not going to be this, so it's going to be Blast 4 finals. When do you think we're going to see CS2 in pro play? I guess when do you think it's going to be released?
I mean, like they said summer, sure, summer. I don't really think it's gonna, like, with how everything is right now, unless they come up with like many updates as they have done now, but more updates and bigger updates to like fix all the issues that there is, then I don't think it's gonna come out this month.
Yeah,
Maybe next month, hopefully, because like the more time it goes, the less time we have to prepare for the RMR, and
for sure.
the more random the RMR is gonna be. Like, imagine if the game comes out in like, let's say, 2 months, then you have like what,
Not a
uh,
lot of time, right?
3 months to prepare. I feel like it's gonna be so random in
Yeah,
the RMR and all the tournaments. Hopefully, like if I have a lot of copium, I'd say it comes out at the end of this month. I don't think it's gonna be,
let's see.
but I would certainly hope, only if they fix the issues. I'd rather they delay the game to fix the issues than release an unfinished product.
Absolutely. Release the finished thing first, and then we're happy. If it's a mess when it comes out, that's when things can be kind of rough, especially for the pro scene as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's smart. Well, brother, I think that more or less concludes everything. So first of all, thank you very much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Obviously, things looking on the up with Godsend, which is good to hear. Now I've actually got time to play post ISF. I'm going to leave kind of the floor open for you. If anything that you want to kind of shout out, you're more than welcome to. Feel free.
Nah, I mean, I don't really have anything to like shout out. I just want to say thank you for inviting me, and I
Awesome.
hope that the people watching this will, watch the Godsends game and see how we develop as a team, and feel free to ask me anything on DMs or whatever you want to know about the team and stuff, and I'll gladly answer.
Well, there we go. There we go, brother. Thank you very much, Ronnie. Thank you very much at home as well for watching. It's been a pleasure, Plopski, having you on. I'm looking forward to seeing what the roster looks like going towards the future. By the look of things at ISF for yourself, for Bob XD, ZTR, whenever it looks good on paper. Things are looking positive. Flawless throughout that tournament, so I've got high hopes. Got high hopes. Brother, thank you very much, Ronnie. It's been a pleasure. Thank you everyone at home. And if you're new around here, subscribe, like all the rest. We'll see you soon. Peace.